This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and T-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're doing it wrong. Really wrong. If you believe the stats and rhetoric on those gear packages, then you're simply lying to yourself. Introducing the Gear Lie Detector Test. Simply scan the package with this new app, and it will tell you all the lies you thought you could believe. Check it out at backpackingblisters.com.
Hello, everybody. This is Derek, and with me today is the only man to use hot campfire ash as a facial exfoliant and cleanser, Carl Mandrioli.
Welcome to the Backpack Blisters podcast. Thank you for joining us. With me today is my lovely co-host, Derek Somerville. He's a man who gets food poisoning at annual reunions, runs in the family.
Wow. Thanks for calling me lovely. I appreciate it. But yeah, other than that was horrible. We have, I'll just call him El Numero Uno. I'll just call him Mr. Deep Dive. We have a legend of YouTube coming out today. What'd you say?
We do. Stephen Smith, My Life Outdoors. We're going to hit a variety of topics. And Derek, of all the topics that we're going to be talking to Stephen about today, which one are you most interested in?
Of the topics? I kind of want to hear what he has to say about the PFAS, the forever chemicals, actually. That's of interest. So I know that you're like a naysayer of all things like that, but I'm curious. I like to educate. So we'll see what he says. I'm curious.
What am I naysaying specifically? What am I like that they don't exist, or what do I say?
I don't know. I think you just have that attitude of like, there's always something to worry about, so who cares? Let's just throw it on our body and keep going. I don't give a rip. It's kind of like crotchety old crusty man. The crusty old dude. You're kind of like
that. Probably not too far off.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah. This is my assessment.
All right. Last time Steven was on, I don't think you made that one. I mean, he's been on a couple times, but the one where it was just him and I think we finished our conversation. He's like, is that all you got? Like, he was kind of challenging
disappointed
questions because you weren't there and you were throwing him all these off the wall questions. And I was just kind of like doing like straight talk with gear. So I'm just going to like straight up out the gate. I'm just going to throw a curveball at him and see how he handles it.
Good.
All right.
Yeah. I'll try to put a little heat on him too. That's good. I like it.
All right. Well, that's kind of who you are. You don't have to try to do that. That's just who
It'll
you are.
happen. It's going to happen. Let's be honest. It's going to happen. Yeah.
All right. So Steven's episode is brought to you by Enlighten Equipment, the trusted brand by all the gear experts we've had on our show. Lighten your load at enlightenequipment.com. Our Bible verse for today is Psalm 143. They make their tongues as sharp as a serpent's. The poison of vipers is on their lips.
Ooh.
Do you know anybody like that, Derek?
I'm looking at him right now. Right there.
Softball.
I
think I've got poison lips.
Gotta watch out for you. Gotta watch out for you, man. Let's bring him in. Let's bring in the...
Your analysis, outstanding as usual. All right, here we go. Stephen Smith, coming up right now. With us today is the number one backpacking YouTuber in the world, Stephen Smith from My Life Outdoors. How's it going today, my friend?
I'm going really good.
I caught you off guard.
I don't know why. I was focusing on it.
Number one.
I was holding up my finger, and I've already tilted him. I've already got him off his game. This is going to be fun today. I can already tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the greatest.
Yeah. I'm going good. No, I'm doing really good.
We're going to find out.
Let's keep going down this road of awkwardness then. So, like, you're known for outside the box, creative thinking. You've got some of the best ideas I've ever seen. I just love all the content you put out. So, in your estimation, let's tap into your creativity here. What's the best way to fake your own death?
Oh my goodness, fake. I guess you would go hiking and just never come back.
Okay.
Right?
You'd come back somewhere just hidden or like in a different
Well, yeah.
town.
You just don't go back to the people that know you. So you go out hiking, you tell everybody this is where I'm going, and you say I'm going to be back by this time, whatever. I guess you'd have to have a disposable vehicle because of the vehicles, because you got to leave the vehicle at the trailhead. Right. So you leave the vehicle at the trailhead,
Or take Uber.
Take some clothes and like lay them on the trail, something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
rub some ketchup on them. Just disappear into the woods.
Ketchup. Yeah, I think, you know what, you're right. I think ketchup would probably fool forensics when they come.
They'd be
in.
like, well, it's obvious that he died, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Dogs just licking, the search dogs are just licking the clothes.
Like search and rescue, they're looking for you. You're consuming a lot of resources. People are, they're putting out, wanted posts, not wanted. They're putting out
Wanted posters?
posters with like rewards. Maybe wanted. Well, we don't know his full story.
I mean, after they find out you faked your death, then you're wanted at that
Then
point.
you're
That's a good one.
Right?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd go hiking. I thought you'd go more like off a cruise ship. You jump off and you have one of those like underwater machines that you can like, kind of like in National Treasure, they kind of send you far away.
Yeah, like the James Bond underwater propeller thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
can get behind that.
Yeah.
What, like a submarine? What are you talking about?
Haven't you seen National
got
Treasure?
submarine
Like
money.
a self-propelled propeller. You like hold a propeller in your hand.
Oh yeah, like you hold it and
And
it's
Yeah.
just like.
and you just go.
But where?
You mapped it.
Like
you
where are you
mapped
hiding
it
that thing?
out.
You're just on the cruise, walking around with one of those things, and you jump
Listen,
off.
listen. You have a contact, and he's part of the crew, and he attaches
Right.
it to the bottom of the ship, and
But that's somebody. Hey, the more people that know, the more
I
people
know.
that can.
That's a fair
can spill the
point.
beans.
But this is a guy you're paying to not say anything that you don't really kind of you kind of know.
Yeah.
So you just want to make
Are
sure
they,
it's there.
So you talked about search and rescue. I mean, it's a cruise ship, and they're not going to stop and be like man overboard and like do like a search and all that kind of stuff.
That's why. You're gonna jump at night. That's why you jump at night.
And
Yeah.
then how long for that thing? I mean, I'm assuming it runs on batteries. I mean, is it going to get you all the way back to shore?
Listen, Steven,
that's a fair
if
question.
the guys from Alcatraz could do it, you can do it too. Okay? Like they made it. Some of the guys made it.
All I'm saying is that I think going hiking with some ketchup's a lot more feasible.
Listen, okay, forensic shows up
with
and they
ketchup.
look at your shirt with ketchup and there's no animal bite marks and no bullet holes. They're gonna have some questions. That's all I'm saying.
But forensics only shows up if they suspect foul play, right?
Well, if there's ketchup, there's something's foul, right?
You know, something's foul. Your clothes stench would be foul. That's foul enough.
All right,
You know?
Derek. That was you. You answered the question. You were ready to go. I tried to catch you off guard, and you were not going to be had that way.
Yeah,
so
I was ready.
congratulations.
He's ready. He's
Yeah.
number one.
I was more off guard about how I'm doing than
Right.
about how I'd fake my own death. So
Okay, we won't ask you that question again. We'll ask you. We won't
Yeah,
ask
please
you how
not.
you're doing. Derek, what you got?
Nowhere to go with that. All right, you cover a lot of ground in your videos, Steve. Over the last year, what would you say has been the hottest topic you've hit on?
Hottest topic has probably been the PFAS video. So I put out a video, I guess is back around September or whatever, and it seems like you guys have already seen it because you're eating gear in Forever Chemicals and stuff like that. But so PFAS, otherwise known as Forever Chemicals, that video did really well, which I was very pleased about how well it did because it also was, I mean, it took me probably like 6 months and quite a bit of money to make that video.
Wow.
And sometimes you do that.
Wow.
Sometimes you put a lot of money and time and effort into a video and it just doesn't do well. And then you just cry yourself to sleep
Right.
Yeah.
every night. But
Carl, you don't know about that. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah. And so
That literally just happened. I literally just released a video, and it didn't do very well. And I put months and months and months of money into
Yeah.
it for sure.
Carl is no stranger
Yeah.
to that.
well, but
failure.
then there are some videos that are like passion projects, where like you do it because you want to do it, and then the time
For
and
sure.
the money's not a big deal. But this was a little bit of both. So it was a passion project, something I've been thinking about for a long time, something I wanted to do and had the idea for, put a lot of time and effort and money into it, and it did really well. And I was very pleased about that. And I can't remember exactly how you worded the question, but I really do feel like it's been one of the bigger topics that I've covered because I have, I've got people that are asking me to come speak and speak on the topic of PFAS. I'm like, I'm not an expert on this.
Wait. At like at environmental conferences, or where are you speaking?
I don't know exactly what it is. It's an organization in Spokane, and so it's some sort of like environmental group or something like that in Washington State. And they asked if I would come and speak on the topic of PFAS, and so I was like, yeah.
I was gonna say, is that the Bigfoot group that we met in Washington, Carl? Like when we were, is that the same?
Yeah, they wanted to know the effects of PFAS on Bigfoot. It was the
on Bigfoot. They're a little, they're a little cultish. So just FYI. So okay, be ready.
Wait, are you available as a guest? It sounds like you're sort of like in a like kind of a subversive sort of way, advertising that you could be hired as a speaker.
Yeah, man, I love to talk.
I had no idea. Carl, this is the #1 YouTuber. I don't know if you're aware. And why wouldn't they want him?
I know.
The #1?
But
let me do that. Let me do the finger again for you. Why wouldn't they want him? I don't understand that. Of course they're going to have him out there.
So you want to be a guest speaker at the middle school that I teach at? Is that what you're suggesting?
Oh yeah, man, I'd eat that stuff up. I love
at a middle school.
Wow.
Yeah,
do you think middle schoolers be afraid of your beard or no? Would they embrace it more?
I have no. There's only one way to find out.
Because that's the cutoff age, I believe, for the Unabomber, knowledge-wise. So I don't know if that's a parallel there, but just, you want to...
Yeah, no, it just communicates respect to most people.
That's fair. More of a Moses vibe. You kind of like give out that Aaron Moses vibe, so that's good. I like that.
Steven missed you, Derek. He missed you. Okay, getting back to the video, though. So you put the video out. It did very well, and it was talking about, I think the video was called something like, is your gear poisoning you, or something along those lines. And typically when you put out a video and it's on a, it's like environmental stuff's controversial. I'm guessing you got some pushback as well, not just support, but pushback. Is that accurate?
Got some pushback? I mean, the #1 thing that I saw in the comments was, well, there's two things. One, everyone was upset that I used plastic bottles to collect the samples, which the bottles were provided by the lab that was doing the testing. And so I didn't even question. Like I told them I need to do a PFAS test. They sent me these bottles to take the samples. And so I'm thinking, okay, like they've done everything they need. They do PFAS testing all the time. So I'm sure that they've tested their bottles to make sure that their bottles don't have PFAS in them, because that'd be really dumb if they didn't. So I just trusted that. But then, I trusted it so much I didn't even say anything about it in the video. I didn't be like, don't worry, these bottles are fine.
Right.
Because I didn't even think about that. But man, I got so many comments from people being like,
wow.
Like the worst thing about this video is you use plastic bottles to collect the samples. And I'm like,
wow.
The lab provided them,
Did any of these, I'll call them trolls for lack of a better word, did any of these trolls offer you some glass milk bottles? Like, hey, let's do it again. Here's some glass milk bottles. I'll ship them out to you.
I mean, they certainly offered glass as a suggestion. They've certainly suggested that I use glass.
Genius. Yeah, genius.
And I was just like, the video's done, guys. I can't go back. Like this is...
But it's done.
Yeah.
It's out.
We're talking about this topic, assuming that the audience knows what we're talking about. It was in your video, which is very popular. We've brought it up on our show before, but really only one time. Yeah. And we're also assuming that Derek knows what you're talking about. Steven, do you think that Derek knows what PFAS does?
I don't know. Do you? Do you know what PFAS does? I mean, I can just tell you, but
what does it do? Like the chemicals that are in like a lot of the clothing, like a lot of clothing companies use PFAS in their clothing, right? There's like Walmart, Target, all these companies use PFAS. And so the idea is that we're putting these PFASs, these forever chemicals, into our body, but maybe just by wearing it, right? Or if you're using a PFAS...
He's not answering the question. He's not answering the question.
PFAS are forever...
What does it do? Why would they use PFAS in the first place? What's the advantage?
Oh, well, why don't you phrase it like that? What is the benefit of using PFAS? Is that what your question is?
I don't even know who you're asking now.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm asking Derek, because we know that you know, Steven, because you did a whole video on it, but Derek's talking about it as if he knows what he's talking about. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
These are forever chemicals that are in clothing and gear and stuff that people like consume or wear, and it's considered dangerous. Is that correct?
All right. He doesn't know. Steven, what does PFAS do?
PFAS is a water and oil resistant chemical. And so it's mostly used...
It's like for waterproofing on tents and jackets.
Yeah. So basically mostly used for waterproofing, but it's also used for fire suppression and a bunch of different stuff. And probably the largest contributor of PFAS in the environment is from fire suppressing foams, because airline fuel fires and things like that, like really hot burning fires that don't really want to be put out with water, are water resistant, I guess. PFAS works really well to put those kinds of fires out. And so fire departments all over the world have used them and just dumped gallons and gallons and gallons on top of, fires or in fire training to try to put out different fires, not realizing that
Right.
it's just going to go into the ground and into the water system and cause all kinds of problems. Yeah, forever. Yeah, and it seems to cause all kinds of health issues. I'm trying to remember some of the different health issues off the top of my head that it causes. Cancer is there, but I mean, a lot of people say a lot of things cause cancer, and so cancer and immune disorders.
It's like nervous system stuff, right?
Yeah,
Right?
for sure. I'd have to go back and look because now off the top of my head, I'm questioning what I'm saying, but it causes a lot of problems.
Check it out. We'll have a link to that video in our show description. Check it out if you're interested, especially if you're interested in environmental stuff. And if you want to check out kind of like where companies are going with that, like you can check out this video. And we got an episode on that from last fall as well. But moving into another, speaking of your popular videos, another one you put out was about comfort versus survival rating on sleeping bags. So my question is, like, you got a lot of hits on that video, man. And I know that different companies do it differently, but is that a stat that you think is important for most backpackers out there?
I would think so. But what's interesting about that video is that video wasn't even about comfort versus survival ratings on sleeping bags. It was about R values in sleeping pads, which is connected but different. And so,
okay, did I misspeak? I apologize.
No, you're fine because it is confusing, and I've gotten some flack about that. Everything is accused of clickbait, but so sleeping bags are rated, and they're giving a rating of a survival rating and a comfort rating, and then they have an extreme rating too. So every sleeping bag gets 3 ratings if it's being rated by the standards of ISO or the EN governing boards. And so, but all of those use a sleeping pad that has a 5 R value underneath it whenever they receive those ratings. And so the sleeping bag companies are assuming that you are sleeping with at least a 5 R value sleeping pad at whatever temperature that you're expecting the sleeping bag to go down to. And so you ask, like, is it important to the average backpacker? I think it is, because if you buy a 20-degree bag, you're expecting that bag to go down to 20 degrees, and I'm assuming that you buy it because you're expecting that you might encounter those temperatures. And I've encountered temperatures in the high 20s in the middle of summer in the mountains. And so, that's the 3-season sleeping bag, right? But when a company says the sleeping bag is 20 degrees, that might be the survival rating. And they might be telling you, yeah, it's 20 degrees, but at the survival rating, you're going to be miserable in the middle of the night. You're going to survive. You're going to be fine. Like, you're going to live, but you're going to be miserable, and you're going to be upset because you're going to be like, I had a 20-degree bag and it only got down to 25. Why did I feel cold? And so the comfort rating may actually be like 30 or 35 or something like that. And then if you don't have the right sleeping pad underneath it, paired with it, it could even be even colder because all that cold air is coming up from underneath and all that kind of stuff. And that's what the video was really trying to address, was how crucial is that 5 R value? Do we need to have a 5 R value pad underneath every time because that's the way that it was tested? Which, interesting, like, so now I'm going to geek out a little bit, but it's tested with a 5 R value pad, and the dummy that it's tested with is wearing a full head to toe layer of clothing. And so,
oh boy, here we go.
I don't know if all backpackers sleep with that or not.
Wait, do you sleep naked when you're out there? Is that what you're suggesting?
I don't, but I usually sleep in a t-shirt and underwear. And so I don't have a full head to toe layer of clothing on. But that, I mean, that 5 R value pad and that like full set of long johns or whatever it is that's on the mannequin, I mean, that's giving the mannequin quite a bit of an advantage, or I guess it's giving the sleeping bag that's being tested quite a bit of an advantage if that's not the way that you typically sleep. And so that was the goal of the video, was try to figure out, like, how important is that based off the testing. But what I ended up discovering was that inflatable air pads do not test as well as closed cell foam. And it was a weird thing that caused me to figure that out, because we had custom closed cell foam pads made. And so Zimbivia was a partner with me on this video, and they came saying, we want to know the answer to this question, because we want to know, do we need to be making all 5 R value pads, or is it okay to do something, like a 4.5 or a 3 or, whatever. And so they helped fund that video to try to figure out the answers so they would influence their gear choices or their gear design. And so they helped, and we got those custom pads. They were all targeted at a 1 R value. You could stack R value. And so we were going to get up to 5. We're going to remove the R value. We got down to 1 R value. So we had a group of 6 people. I feel like I'm just like describing the video now, but we had a group of 6 people, got down to one pad. And I was expecting at 2 or 1 pads for everyone to be absolutely miserable. Because it was like a 20-degree night. I think the lowest temperature we saw was 19 degrees. And I was just like, these people are going to be miserable. And they weren't. And a lot of them were like, we could keep going. Like, we're fine.
Wow.
Like, everything's great.
We could just go, man.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, how is this happening? And so I started trying to figure it out. I did a bunch of testing, trying to figure out like how much energy does it take per layer of pad, which is what I found out is like every time you add an R value, it's about 20% more warmth. I think it was like 18 to 20% more warmth every time you add 1 R value. And then I started testing that, and the numbers were just doing weird things for me. And so I started testing the inflatable pads and had 4.5 R value in closed cell foam and 4.5 R value in an inflatable pad, and they would not test the same. The 4.5 inflatable pad was testing the same as just 1 or 2 closed cell foam pads, which was like a 2 R value. And so,
really,
but I'm not bringing that. Derek, you bringing like a foam pad?
no, heck no.
Derek has bony hips. He talks about them all the time. He's not.
I'm more of a diva.
would you layer a pad? Would you bring a foam pad and then put a inflatable on top, or you don't want to carry the weight?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if we're going like Derek miles, like 2 miles a day. I'd do that. If we're going
That's
like
fine.
a real backpacking trip, probably not.
Well, Carl can't add the miles I do correctly, so I don't know. That's a good question because the foam pad is nothing. Would it create a bunch of extra warmth? Yeah. So I don't know. That's food for thought. I don't know if I just want to carry the extra gear though. I gotta really.
I mean, I probably wouldn't, even though I'm the one that put out the video saying that you need, not that you need, but close enough.
When the rubber hits the road, like, I don't feel like if we're going to go to a place that's like unknown, like let's say we go to Alaska and it's like, I don't really know what the weather's going to maybe be like, then maybe I would do that.
That's fair.
But otherwise, if we're in lower 48, I probably wouldn't do that if we're going in the summertime, right? So.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at too with that question is that if you're talking to like the Just Outdoors of the world who have spreadsheets for every piece of gear and they have, like 4 columns per category, then I see this like they're going to be calculating exactly what you're calculating. But if you're like Derek and me, we're like 20 degrees, like that could mean one thing for one company, one thing for another company. Some people sleep hot, some people sleep cold. There's so many different factors. 20 degrees, it's probably not going to get out of 20. Like that's going to be good enough. We just throw it in. I just wonder if like where you found to be the majority of the backpackers, they're more like kind of like, this is good enough, or is it more like the spreadsheet guys?
Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, like for me, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to take a higher R value inflatable pad. And so what I learned from that experiment is that you would probably do okay with like a 2 R value closed cell foam pad, which is about the same as a 4.5 or 5 R value inflatable pad. And so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 5 R value inflatable pad and I'll be fine because I know that I could survive on less. But then I also have the comfort of the inflatable pad. And so I think that's really where the industry has fallen is that I think most people are used to inflatable pads and they're used to the R values of inflatable pads. And so they think 3-season backpacking needs an R value 4.5 or higher, something like that. But really, if you had closed cell foam, you probably only need like a 2 or higher.
At what R value, Carl was wondering this, I'm going to ask it though, because he's not brave enough. At what R value does it become from camping, does it become glamping? You know what I mean? Like, at what R value? Like, if I'm 3.5 or higher, is that glamping now? Am I just like a diva out there with my sleeping pad?
I guess it depends on how comfortable
What's
you want to
the
be.
stat on that?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a stat out on that? Somebody's got to do a test on that, Carl. You want to?
I'm going to say 6.5. 6.5 is correct.
6.5 is when you're glamping?
Yeah.
unless it's wintertime.
I'm going to make a video that's going to challenge Steven's findings. It's going to be called, "What is the official glamping R value?" And
That's a great video idea.
Yeah, I'll just...
and you could be the guinea pig.
I'll just say it's 6.5, and that's probably all I'll say. I don't really have any more information than that. But
You should call it glamping versus survival.
Yeah, there you go.
Glamping
A day in the
rating.
life of Carl.
Glamping versus survival rating.
That's what he does, Steven, though. He just makes up random facts like that. So I'm gonna keep going here though. Why we want to know why are mesh base layers a thing? Let's dive into that a little bit.
I think it was the rave scenes of the 90s. I think that's what made that I think that's what made it a thing, you know? And so...
Were you part of that scene?
I was not. I mean, I probably could have been accused of being a part of that scene, but I never
you were there.
was
You were
actually
there.
a part of it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I may have looked the part, but I
100%.
But I was
100%.
but I was not actually at the rave.
How
so.
long was the beard back then in the rave days? Was there a beard there? Was it stubble?
It was like it was like stubble, like peach fuzz. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that journey, that's a long journey to get to where you have been or where you are now.
I mean, this has been like 15 years, and this is as long as it gets. It will not get any longer.
It won't get any longer.
Yeah.
I don't shorten it.
So you're trying to go Gandalf. You're trying to go Gandalf mode. It won't happen.
Yeah, this is exactly how long my beard hair is, and it will not get any
Wow.
longer. Or it just keeps getting longer, and it just keeps curling up inside there. And
Yeah.
you know, and if
Thickening
I
up.
ever like straighten it out, it'll be like 50 feet long.
Well, I want to encourage you to keep going because 15 years seems like a lot, but Carl has underwear that are 15 years old, so I think you can go further
That's true.
than 15 years. So just
Okay.
food for
All right.
thought.
And if you're wondering how many times is Derek going to bring up the beard, like I got tally marks, so we're at 3.
Okay,
Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares. Anyway.
Okay, so getting back to the mesh thing. All right, so for real, so you put out a video about like mesh being a legit base layer, and I've seen people doing this, and yeah, so what? I don't really know where to go with this. Like, why is this a thing?
I mean, so what it seems to be to me is it's the best balance between breathability and warmth. And so when you need the warmth of a base layer, it is really warm. And based on the testing that I did I think it was about 20% warmer is what I showed. The claims are 4 to 6 times warmer, which I don't know how that equates to percentages, but I measured about 20% more warmth than a standard base layer of the same weight. And so it works really well to keep you warm. But then the beauty of it is that once you ventilate, like if you've got like a shell over it, you open up the pit zips or you open up, the zipper on the front, whatever the case is,
right?
it lets all that heat out very quickly. And so especially in wintertime when you need to be managing moisture quite a bit, you're hiking uphill, whatever the case may be, and you're sweating quite a bit. If you start sweating into your base layer, the moment that you stop.
Okay, so you're talking about you're letting out all of the air, all of the heat when you open it up your jacket or whatever, and it's not going to cause sweat, so it's safer in winter environments. But I'm just looking at the practicality of it. Okay, so let's say that you're layering up, you're hiking in the morning, you're getting hot, so now you're taking off a layer and you're down to mesh layer. Derek and I are going the opposite direction. We encounter Steven and he's wearing just a mesh shirt. We are not going to be talking to you. This is like socially awkward. We're just we might not even nod. We're gonna be like, dude, what's up with that guy?
Well, it depends. Is it a V-neck mesh or just a like straight collar mesh?
Yeah, no, it's crew. It's crew.
Okay,
it's crew
well,
neck.
yeah, we're talking. I'm talking crew V-neck mesh. I'll walk by.
I mean, but you can see everything, So I made a fake thumbnail where I'm like hiding, the sensitive areas and all that kind of stuff. But that one never saw the light of day. And so, so in my mind, it's going to be a really warm day, or you're really working up a really big sweat to want to have just a base layer on. Is my thinking, And so I'm thinking you're at least going to have a shell over it, and so you're going to have, you might have a little bit right here that you see a little bit in the pit zips, but for the most part, I think. I don't know that there's very many people that are just hiking in just a base layer.
There's somebody out there.
And even if they are, like base layers are like skin tight, they hug things and stuff like that. So I mean,
yeah, but you're muscular, so I could see you doing that.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
game recognizes game. What are you gonna do? are you gonna do?
Somebody did comment on that video. They said you just want to show off your muscles, and I was like,
Right.
what muscles?
Correct.
Yeah, what muscles? Whatever, man. All right. Well, I just thought it was like, I know people that have hiked in base layers, and so I mean, it just looked. I just thought it could be
Like
potentially.
with nothing else, they're just in their base layer.
Yeah, because they're just peeling as they go, and they're continuing on down the trail, and it's basically just like a wool shirt. Like a lot of people wear like a wool shirt as a base layer,
Yeah. Okay.
or whatever, or I don't know. I just thought it could be socially awkward, but if you're not going to peel down to that,
Oh,
then,
I mean, it probably is.
yeah, okay.
He's more insecure than us, Steven, though, in that situation. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think you wouldn't talk to a guy in a mesh shirt. You wouldn't offer Steven water and a crew.
I mean, so
mesh
what do you
shirt.
do like when you go to the beach or something like that? Do you just don't talk to anybody?
He doesn't go to the beach.
I don't talk to anybody.
You go to the beach. You go to a public pool. You go to I don't know, the men's locker room at the gym. He's like I'm not talking to those guys who don't have shirts on.
Just to clarify, you go to a public pool. At the beach and in the locker room, you're going up to strangers and talking to them. That's the scenario you're putting out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I mean,
Is that art?
I don't talk to people in the
Is that
locker
awkward
room.
for you,
What?
Carl?
That's
okay.
weird,
so
man.
so then the question I have is, why do you have to talk to the guy on the trail then? If you're not talking to people at the beach or the locker room, why are you on the trail being like, I got to talk to that guy?
What's the difference? In one scenario, I'm fully clothed. That person's fully clothed. In the other scenarios, there's a lot less clothes going on.
Yeah, but if you, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person.
Okay. Am I alone on this? Is anybody else going to be like super excited to see mesh guy walking, like coming right at him on the trail?
I don't think you're alone, but if you're secure, then you don't really care. Like, I'm not junior high anymore, dude. You know?
This is our 8th season of me telling you that I'm not secure. That this is why I never want to meet you.
This is why I'm saying this to Steven.
You already mentioned about the, like the idea of every backpacker should be aware of like survival versus comfort rating and kind of how that works. But a lot of backpackers tend to they'll get gear and they stick with what works. They don't change much about their gear, their skills, and they'll leave it there kind of for years. So from your experience, like what are 2 things old crusty backpackers should really be thinking about or reconsidering this year?
So I mean, like going back to some of the things we've already talked about, like some of the testing that I've done, I think it's just, there's certain things that we think about that we just think that's the way that it is. And it's the way that it is because somebody told me, somebody that I looked up to whenever I was first getting started in backpacking or whatever, they told me that's the way that it is. And so like I've got a pretty good example. And this is an upcoming video that I'm going to be working on actually. But I was recently hiking in Patagonia, and I was hiking with a group, and there was a guy there that I don't even know how we got on this topic, but he was asking me about my sleeping bag, and he said, "Is it down?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "You shouldn't have done that. Like huge mistake, huge mistake going with down." He's like, if that thing gets wet, he's like, "You're done. Like you're dead."
That's what you want to hear out there. That's what you're.
And I'm like I've been using down for years and never had a problem. I've even gotten it wet before and have done testing on down before, because they have waterproof, which a lot of the waterproofing for down is PFAS. They waterproof it with PFAS. But I had confidence in the down. But this guy someone told him at some point in his life that the down was no good. And so he's convinced that synthetic is the only way to go. And so,
Terrible.
And not because of this guy, because of some other stuff, but I'm going to be doing some testing on down to figure out how susceptible is it really to water? Are we, because I've been told the same thing, like I don't worry about it the way that this guy does, but I've been told like once it gets wet, like you're in a bad spot. So you got to protect it, with your life just to make sure that you don't get your down wet. And my question is like, how concerning is that really? And how much water does it realistically take to wet out a down sleeping bag to the point that you're going to be in a survival situation because your bag got wet? I mean, is it gallons and gallons of water, or is it like the condensation that's rubbing off the inside of your tent? And that's the question I want to know. And so that's a future video. But that's the thing is,
okay,
that guy was told that. Somebody else was told something about that you got to wear a regular mesh base layer, or not a regular base layer, not a mesh base layer. Somebody else was told that you got to have an R value 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the case may be. And from the testing that I'm doing, I'm like, it doesn't necessarily seem to be the case. And so that's the thing I would tell crusty old backpackers is Just because you were told it and have believed it forever doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way that it really is.
I would like to sum up what you just said, Stephen, to an old crusty backpacker is basically, I mean, you're pointing out like essentially 3 different topics, and your conclusion on all the topics is everything that you think you know about this is wrong. And so basically what you'd be saying to that old crusty backpacker is everything you think you know or that you've been told is incorrect.
I don't know that
Am I
it's
right about
everything, but it could be.
If I've done a video on it, then you're wrong about whatever you think.
Yeah. If you're making a video title, you got to say it's wrong, even if it could be wrong, because you put "could be" in the title, people are going to be like, "Oh, I don't care."
Yeah.
But you say wrong, they want to go in to find out if they agree with you or not, and then
Gotcha.
And if they don't agree, they're going to leave a comment, and that's going to boost it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's insider info right there. I'm a little nervous for this next part of our show because this is only Derek's second lightning round, and he was highly confused the first time we did this. But
Steven, if somebody says to you, we're going to do a lightning round, you can literally ask any question you want, not backpacking related. What are you going to prep? All kinds of fun stuff, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
he had trivia questions that took 30 seconds a pop to ask them, and so that defeated the purpose.
We're gonna simplify. We'll make them a little bit more true and false.
Okay.
Okay.
These are not necessarily trivia questions though. These are, it could be anything, any question, personal opinion, whatever. So
Canada?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you get 1 minute. Answer as many as you can. I think the record right now for season 8 is 9 correct. So the timer starts once Derek asks his first question. So Derek, you are up.
Man. So we're not just doing how fast, like it's whether or not I get it right. Too?
Mine aren't correct. Mine's like opinion stuff. So I don't know what Derek's gonna ask.
Oh, all right, good.
Opinion stuff. So he has to agree with your opinion to get it right, or what? How does he get it right? Okay, there it is. Okay, am I going first? Here we go. The first person to use the word nerd was Dr. Seuss or Albert Einstein?
Albert Einstein.
It was Dr. Seuss.
What's your favorite gear company?
Incorrect.
I don't know. I like them all.
Oh, yeah. Horrible question. The New York Stock Exchange used to be a coffee shop or a slave market?
Slave market.
Coffee shop.
What's a conspiracy theory that you kind of believe?
Birds aren't real.
Birds are... George Washington would occasionally wear lipstick or lederhosen?
Lederhosen.
Lipstick.
If you could legally change your first name, what would it be?
What?
I didn't hear Derek. Derek started talking. All right.
He said he got it right, Fred. According to the U.S. law, if you kidnap somebody and ask for the ransom and they pay that ransom, if I pay that ransom, it is tax deductible. True or false?
True.
It is tax deductible. Correct. Correct.
What is the best M&M flavor?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Ooh.
Time.
The term
Time.
Lego. Oh, he's going more.
We're already overtime. I already built in 8 more seconds for your nonstop chattering, Derek.
Here we go.
Derek still doesn't understand the lightning round, but go ahead, Derek.
I'm going to ask it. We're having fun with it. You know what? My questions are longer, but you made him answer longer. In Tibet, if somebody sticks out their tongue at you, are they showing respect to you or are they proposing marriage?
The marriage.
Respect.
Those either or questions, Steve. I don't think you did very well with those.
He got one of them.
One out of 5, I think.
Oh my god! Well, after the first 2, I started going with whatever seemed more ridiculous because that's what it seemed like the theme was.
Yeah,
but then,
that is the theme. That's
Yeah.
Derek's life right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Derek,
theme.
any takeaways from anything else he said besides the trivia questions?
Any takeaways? No, I just appreciate all the work that you do that goes unseen, and that the time that you put into probably that we don't even know about. I think that's really cool because I think you're really providing a service to the backpacking community that is undervalued. So I just want to give you credit for what you're trying to do. I think it's really cool.
That is 100% unrelated to lightning round, but that was very nicely said right there.
Oh, you want lightning round question? Yeah, I got one more. You want one of those? I got one
No,
more.
Okay, forget it.
The name Lego comes from the Danish word meaning play well or pricey bricks.
Pricey bricks.
Play well.
that did not seem the most
Derek's
ridiculous.
comprehension skills are getting worse each year, so I apologize.
I thought you were gonna get that one. That's too bad.
Okay.
That's how tricky. Steve, what can we look forward to on your channel this year? What's coming up?
Man, I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. A lot of stuff that I'm really excited about, and so I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff where I'm talking about interesting facts and science behind places I'm visiting. Going to be doing a lot of gear testing, where I'm trying to pull data out of different pieces of gear and all that kind of different stuff, answering questions that people probably didn't even know they wanted to know the answers, or that they should be asking those questions. And so I've got video ideas listed out all the way into July. And so I've got a bunch of stuff. Now, whether or not I can actually make them all happen is a different question, but I'm really excited about the stuff that I've got coming up.
You're like Mr. Deep Dive. When podcast people say, we're going to take a deep dive, you actually deep dive. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
you
great.
know, and so I don't know if we got time to say this, but the reason why I started doing that was because I got tired of just offering my opinion. And so, you know, like I was like, yeah, I mean, I like this piece of gear, or I don't like this piece of gear. And I was like, and the question that Carl was asking earlier, like, well, who are you? I'm like, well, who am I? You know?
Really
and so I
makes you
wanted
think.
to give something that was a little more than my opinion. And so, someone looking for something, and I didn't want people to be able to argue with me. And so, you know, because they get in the comments and they're like, wow, yeah, you're stupid because whatever. And I'm like, well, I'm going to prove you wrong.
So it's about being right. It sounds it. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
It's about being right. Got it.
It is. Yeah.
That was great. Thank you, man.
If you're not on YouTube, or you're on YouTube and you're under a rock, you haven't checked out Stephen Smith's My Life Outdoors, he legit puts out the best videos that will capture your attention. He's a master storyteller. We'll have links in our show description. Stephen, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Number one. So, Carl, what did you think of the deep dive numero uno after all of that information? What was your takeaway?
Yeah, big takeaways. Yeah, I think that his style of just basically questioning traditional wisdom, or what is traditional backpacking wisdom, and really asking, like, is that really correct? You know, should we really be doing these things that people have been doing for 20, 30 years or beyond? I think, to me, is very compelling.
Yeah.
And so I just like how he does that. I don't know if that's a takeaway. That's just kind of what I appreciate. How about you?
Yeah. I think I said the same thing at the end of the episode of all the hard extra work he does. Like, we need people like that, right? We need people that are going to go the extra mile, do the stuff that you really don't want to do. But like, once you find out those results, you're like, oh, wow, I'm glad that he did that. That's really cool. So,
but you didn't really say that at the end of the episode. I said, what did you have any takeaways from the lightning round? And then you started like thanking him for his contributions to our world. That was socially awkward.
That was my takeaway. That was my takeaway. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
It's to be socially awkward. So I try to embrace that so people feel not so heavy about it. But I want to know, did you feel like, you know, in the previous shows you've done with him, you said that he felt that you were under par of question. Do you feel like you challenged him enough this episode? Do you feel like you pushed him to the limit?
I mean, we stumped him on a couple, or I stumped him on a couple of the lightning round questions for sure. He kind of rolled with that out the gate question about faking your own deaths. That part was good. I think the best part, though, was stumping you, where it was like, I don't know if everybody picked up on this, but when you don't know what you're talking about, you will talk around the question, and then
you're talking about the PFAS?
Then when it gets explained to you, you'd be like, yeah, it's kind of what I said. Yeah, PFAS.
So I think the thing that I want to say about that is that even he was kind of like, yeah, what do you, like when you did some other question, he's like, what do you asked it in a very vague, confusing way where it's, you're like, what's PFAS? Right. What is PFAS? Now, do you wanted like a scientific definition?
The other strategy that you use is deflecting and then just trying to blame other people for their issues, which is what you're doing right now. So those are the two tactics you use, and you use both of them in the same episode. Well done.
Nobody was blaming him. I will say that I deflect sometimes, but in this one I am not. I'm asking you.
I said, what does PFAS do, was the question. And he didn't understand the question either, so then it got clarified, and you still weren't able to answer the question.
What do you mean it got clarified? I was saying I'm not going to go into it. Okay. He went into more detail because that's what he does, because he's been researching it. But I know that's like
you just answered the question the way I thought you would answer it, because you sounded like you knew what you were talking about.
I think that you need to work on your question asking is what you need to work on.
Okay.
That's maybe
Again with
the
the
issue here.
deflection. Again.
It's not a deflection. It's more it starts at the root, right? It starts at the root.
Okay.
And sometimes you got to pull the roots out, guys. Sometimes you got to pull those weeds
Folks,
out.
go back and listen to that segment, and if Derek is correct, then I will eat my words.
I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm saying I have some knowledge of what PFAS is. I don't know nearly as much as he
You
does.
started talking about Walmart and Target, and yeah.
Because they sell clothes with PFAS.
But that's not what it does. It's like where they sell it. That's not even close to the right answer.
Correct. But I'm saying what it does. The argument is like, well, what does it do? It like he
What
said,
does it do?
it's like
They
these
sell it at
forever
Walmart.
chemicals.
That doesn't answer the question.
It can be. I said it can be toxic to you. It can like contribute to like health issues, right? If you're ingesting it. They've done many tests on PFAS with water, and they found in streams.
We don't need the play-by-play. Go back and listen. You can tell me I'm wrong. It's fine, and I'll
I
eat
think
my
I know
words.
more
All
than
right.
you about it, and that's what I'm going to say about it. Okay. We got
You got trivia, right?
And it's coming up right after this.
This is a PSA, or public sock announcement. Experts have declared Bombas socks as the best way to warm up chilly feet. These pairs are super cushy, soft, and designed for maximum coziness. Plus, for every pair purchased, another pair will be donated, so someone in need of essential clothing can stay warm this winter. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The trail is calling your name. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Our good friend Rowan from Summit Strength can get you trail ready. Rowan uses rock-solid evidence to design a specialized training program just for you. There are plenty of cookie-cutter programs out there that will get you only halfway up the mountain. Make it to your adventure summit with Summit Strength. The link to your success is always in our episode description, but you can check out all the information you need at summitstrength.com.au/online. It's time to be strong and pain-free for your next adventure. Trivia is brought to us by Teton. Derek, how often do you hike in the rain? How often have you gotten your gear wet?
Every day. Hike in the rain.
What do you do?
I'd say a chunk of trips that we've been on, that there's been some rain, and we've hiked in the rain, and my gear got wet. I'm thinking of Flat Top over in Colorado with you. I probably got the worst, and I think most everything in my bag got wet because I was not prepared with the shell. So it happens, yeah.
Teton puts a rain cover into their backpacks, sewn in, making it easy to pull out on the trail the moment a drizzle begins. So if you haven't used a pack with a built-in rain cover, which is going to help you with that issue you just described, then check it out at tetongear.com.
Teton Gear. All right, we got trivia.
Right. What you got?
We got some glamping poison trivia. Are you ready? Here we go. 3 questions. Which company, speaking of PFAS, doesn't use forever chemicals in their clothing? Is it Columbia? Is it Costco? Is it REI? Or is it Patagonia? Which one does not use PFAS chemicals?
It's got to be Patagonia, right?
It's Patagonia. You're right. REI does, though. I was like, what? I didn't know that.
I know.
I didn't realize that.
But it's going to be illegal soon, so it doesn't matter. So
Okay,
they'll
fair
stop.
enough. Which is glamping and which one of these is camping? Okay? You're going to decide. I will tell you if you're right or wrong. Is a shelter with a small tarp and no tent, is that glamping or camping? And let me just clarify. These are glamping or camping according to what I view you as. what you, in your realm, for your world of camping and hiking and backpacking, I'm going to consider these either glamping or camping. Here we go.
The objectivity here is amazing. Let's go with camping on that first one.
That one is camping. That's correct. Okay. Number 2, a 4-inch air mattress. Is that glamping or camping for you?
That is glamping.
That is glamping. That's correct. A full-sized toothbrush, uncut, glamping or camping for you?
That is camping, and
That's
I bring it
glamping.
every time.
That
I don't
is
want to hear
glamping.
otherwise.
That is glamping.
I don't want to hear otherwise.
Incorrect. That is glamping. As we know, you cut your toothbrush.
Oh my gosh.
And number
embarrassing for you.
4, what is this glamping or camping? Is deodorant for you glamping or camping?
Glamping.
Yes, you got 3 out of 4. Nice job, dude. I don't know how you passed
Thank
that.
you.
That
Yeah,
was-
4 out of 4 if you're being objective.
Well, 3 out of 4 if you're being honest. Okay. Number 3. Oh, and see, okay, I had a trivia question here that, and I'm going to say this on air. I texted Rocky today,
Okay.
and I said, Rocky, I need you to answer this question for me. And he's like, oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot right now. And then he just never answered. So that was hours ago, and I just realized I don't have an answer from Rocky. So we might only have 2 trivia questions, but the question was this. It was, who does Rocky think is closest to glamping? Is it Tupperware Mike? Is it Carl? Is it me? Or is it Rocky himself? I think I have the answer. Let me think of who I think it is, and we'll just go with that. I'm going to... Okay. I'm going to choose the answer.
The question is, what does he think? He would probably say Tupperware Mike, but what's the actual answer? Is probably Rocky.
I was going to say Tupperware Mike, but it could be Tupperware Mike or Rocky.
Yeah.
But I think if you're talking just the weight of the backpack with items that are luxurious that you're going to use, I'm going to go Tupperware Mike. Because Rocky will bring a heavy backpack with items that are just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that's glamping, right? But I would say that that's ridiculous.
Well, but he's brought like car camping tents versus backpacking tents.
Yeah.
And he's brought...
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
that
wanna go into
huge...
it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that question was applicable or helpful for people to play along with at home, but Tupperware Mike just brings Tupperware. So there's that.
I don't need you to judge my question. I needed Rocky to give me an answer, which I got none. So I just had to improv on the spot, and that's what we did. Tupperware Mike is the answer. I'm going to give it to you, though. Okay? There you go. So 2 out of 3-ish.
Well, thank you. Tidbits. Couple we got here.
Oh, boy.
We got a documentary out. We got a Backpacking Blizzards documentary. It came out, I want to say like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and it is getting some, like, a lot of good feedback. So we'll have that in our show description. Please check it out. We don't put out documentaries very often, but Derek even made a cameo in this one, and it wasn't even about him. So, yeah.
Cameo.
Why are you laughing?
Yeah, it's great.
Did you even watch any part of it?
I did
Like,
watch
even,
some
like-
of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you turn it off right after the scene with you?
That's all I needed to watch. I just went to that, scanned
That's
it,
fair.
and then found it, and then turned it off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what most people do. All right.
Yeah, it's good.
We put out not too long ago our Patreon trips, our backpacking trips, and I just want to quickly share about them. And Derek, I want to ask you which ones you're thinking about going on. So we put one out for the Superstition Mountains, no interest. I changed it to the Grand Canyon, strangely, very little interest. So I changed it to a non-Patreon trip to Catalina Island. Are you going on that one?
Yeah, I'm going to try and go on Catalina. I've always wanted to hike Catalina, and so I'm stoked that you thought of that, and let's do it.
Thanks.
April,
The
right?
people that showed interest in the Grand Canyon trip, I just invited them on that trip because there weren't very many. I was surprised. I thought Grand Canyon would be a hit, but it wasn't.
Apparently, Grand Canyon is the most dangerous national park in the world, death-wise. Did you know that? I just looked it up the other
I'll
day.
have to look that one up. That would have been a good trivia question. So,
It would have, but that was for a different week, so it's fine.
all right. Well, we'll come back to that 'cause we got a national parks episode coming up. So,
Yeah.
all right, we've got, and then there's the Timberline Trail around Mount Hood in August. That one we haven't done signups for yet. Are you any interest in that one?
For me, no, I can't do Mount Hood.
Like, it's too hard for you?
It's too hard for me. No, it's not too hard. I think it's timing-wise. I can't do that one.
Okay.
That's in July, right?
That's at the end of August, like I just said.
Oh, end of August. Yeah, that's no bueno for me.
So,
Too much
actually, it's in
going on.
September. How about now? Can you do it now?
No. September's my
October.
birthday. Every
It's your
single month.
Your birthday month.
Birthday month.
Well,
I got my
I'm changing. You're like, I can't do it. I'm not available in July. Oh wait, it's not in July size. Yeah, I'm not available. September.
Yeah, I'm busy
it's
the
my
rest of the
birthday.
year, actually. No.
Welcome to my world, folks. This is how it goes when I invite people on backpacking trips. I don't really know why I can't do it, but I'll find a reason.
Carl will beg people to go on trips with you. Because it's, you know what, he begs you to go on trips until it's uncomfortable. And you're like, I don't want to. He's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's uncomfortable. And you're like, I can't, and I don't want to. No, it's fine.
All right. How about Mount Hood, we're doing the same weekend instead of Catalina.
Mount Hood the same weekend we're doing Catalina. We're going to Catalina in April. Stop being.
Why are you? I'm canceling Catalina. We're going to Mount Hood.
You're embarrassing yourself right now, and you know.
Okay, sorry. Our last trip is a big one. Our big epic trip this year is in July, and this is actually, this is something that we invited the Patreon folks on. We got a few Patreon folks going. There's still some spots. It is the Collegiate Loop, or sometimes called the Collegiate Peaks Loop. It connects the Colorado Trail to the Continental Divide Trail. It's a 160-mile loop.
Monster.
Derek, are you going on that one?
Actually, I thought about it, and then I told you no because I am actually, this is a true story, whether you believe it or not. My mom, 72, got her passport for the first time ever, and she wants me to take her on a trip. So I'm planning a little trip with moms. I don't know when we're going yet, but
nice.
Yeah. So,
dude, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Super
It
cool.
should be fun.
All right.
Everybody should go on a trip once in their life. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want more information, you can check it out on Patreon. When our first episode back, we were doing like the worst backpacking hacks, and Eric R. from New Hampshire said, fun to hear Derek on the pod again. I can attest to seeing Derek's first 2 hacks on the tubes, because remember I was like challenging whether or not you made those up. So he's got your back. He says, I have no skin in the game, but definitely like the trivia ideas that we put out. That was my ideas about, like, you know, if you get 2 questions or all 3 questions right, it takes away a loss, that kind of thing. So anyway,
right.
Yeah. So he was trying to say a positive thing for both of us, but the big takeaway was he believes that you were telling the truth. So
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was.
Okay.
You want to look at me in the eye? I'll tell. I was.
I still only half believe you.
That's your insecurity to deal with and your cross to bear. I appreciate his kind words, though. It is good to be back and joking around and keeping Carl in line. So thank you. I appreciate it. I will continue to do so.
My friend, that's all I got.
That is all I've got, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with us and Steven. We will see you next time, guys. And remember, if you have some PFAS on you, it's probably not harmful. Just give it to Carl. He'll drink it right up for you. And see you next time.
Will do.
I want to fly around the world.
So yeah, there was, we were talking about, crusty old men and like stuff that they do and they can't change. And in the beginning of the episode, I'm like, Carl's kind of this crusty old man. The question Carl was asking was about himself. He's asking about, like, I'm old and I'm crusty. And so I don't know if he told you guys this, but we call him Toasted PBJ on the trail. That's his name, Toasted PBJ, because he likes everything crusty and hard and firm, and he's just stuck in his ways. So next time you see him, or send a comment, like, hey, we're rooting for you, Crusty PBJ. And I think that would really go a long way with him. So check it out.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. 1 purchased equals 1 donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.